And I understood because he had a lot of money out there on the streets. He had a woman waiting on him. He had some friends waiting on him. So he had a lot going for him. And for me to talk about him sitting down next to me looking at the mountain, that doesn't seem like a good proposition at that time.
Absolutely.
But I understood that when he knew intuitively or deep down inside that if he followed me, he would end up dying to his way of being, and he wasn't ready to die.
He didn't want to give it up.
He didn't want to give it up.
No.
It's like a rich man. He didn't want to go through, he got to go through that eye of the needle. He didn't want to go through it.
So you were probably alienated by a lot of the people that you hung out with and knew because of this?
I was alienated from that whole crowd. And I still am. And it's extremely difficult for me to go to nightclubs and bars and just drop me and just, hey man, I just can't do that. So even in prison, after having the awakening, I was there for 2 more years after meeting Gangaji. There was all these people who were really on the lower echelon, or lower on the totem pole. They were like the lower ones, and they was carrying all the dirt, the heavy baggage.
So there are certain levels in the prison
system.
Hierarchy.
And these was the child molesters, the rapers, and people who've done crimes where even convicts figure or beneath them or demeaning. And so these are the men that started gravitating to me, those who was like outcasts. And I started just talking to them about my awakening and sharing books with them, and they started shifting. And then the other guys, the guys on the higher echelon, they came up to me one time and said, a Christian guy, he says, "Hey man, what's your hustle? You see you got all these guys following you. What's going on, man? What's your hustle, man? Hook me up." I said, "You should be doing the same thing I'm doing. I'm just talking to them about God, man. I'm just talking about the love of God that's right here, right now, in this moment. You should be doing the same thing. You're a Christian. You got a nice following, but why aren't you doing this?" And he knew right then, whoa, this guy has shifted. This is not a con.
Right.
This is not a hustle.
You're not trying to get something.
I'm not trying. All I want for them young men to do is to be able to find happiness in their heart in such a difficult situation. The same thing that I had experienced.
And were you successful at bringing other people
Oh,
over?
yes. Once you've had this awakening, and people see it, I mean, their inner knowing, their inner God, their inner awareness immediately just says, that's it. And they started wanting, and just seeing and looking and wanting this automatically quickens their fan of flames that's been burning. The light never goes out. It's just been waiting, smoldering, waiting for somebody to come along. And boom!
And they're back on
and they're
again.
back on, right. Because the light never dies. Because we are the light, and the light is always there, but we can cover it up with so much of our junk. In other words, it's just laying there.
Oh, we're good at that.
Oh, we're very good at that.
Which brings me to my next question, which is, do you think that just by nature, the fact of being incarcerated and removed from so much of the distraction of everyday life, that you're forced to be with yourself in a cell in a small confined area, do you think that has anything to do with people that actually start to get to know themselves better, or at least open up to what they want to learn? Or do you think there's a percentage of people that actually benefit from the fact of being taken away from life's distractions?
Prison, I come to realize here lately that prison is just like the abbots or the monasteries up in the hills where the Buddhists go, or where the monks go, where the nuns go. It's the same thing. It's really an ashramic environment. It's really a monastic environment, because every inmate has to start asking questions. Why am I here? Why does this keep happening to myself? Why do I keep doing this to myself? And just to continue asking these questions brings up, again, we're fanning the flame of this awareness, this consciousness. Now consciousness start guiding them and have a conversation with them so they can realize, oh, this is why I'm here. This is who I truly am. So that is what happens when you go to prison. And it happened for me because I kept asking, why am I doing this? What's going on? What's the answer to life? I mean, what's the key to life? What's going on here? So that's what comes up in prison. So there was so many awake people in prison. So, I mean, life on death row, because you have to go within in order to find the peace or go crazy.
Oh, yeah.
You got two choices: find God or go crazy, and that's what happens. And you see a lot of guys just losing.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if those guys are enlightened Buddhists or what, but you know, they don't act like it, and so they have to be really isolated. But so prison is a great place for a person to have an awakening.
And now you would think that once you have an awakening, that you would no longer feel the urges that you used to do the things that you did before. Do they just go away? Are they sitting there kind of waiting? Are you tempted?
You're gonna have to revisit those things that got you into that place. Even though you're blank, you're blank. You just been initiated. It's just an initiation on the path, so you can take this sword and cut through all those things that bound you. So I revisited alcoholism. I revisited cigarettes, marijuana. I revisited my anger. I revisited violence.
And when you say revisited,
I actually relived those. I was in a marriage was a very violent marriage. You know, and now I don't have even. You know, now and I don't have the. Now I don't have a desire to solve a problem or make my point. Now it's a this anger comes up. And now I'm learning how to communicate to my partner about my anger, and to anybody about my anger. You know, as before I just didn't even talk about it. Started, bam, smash something or go get drunk. But now I was okay. This is happening for a reason. This is the 50th time I walked out this house, or I've done something crazy out of anger. What is it I'm not seeing? And so it's a constantly going back and cleaning up your mess you made. You have to do it. Nobody else can do it.
That's true.
And so having the awakening is not the end all, be all. It's just the initiation. Now you're just on a path that you can never really get off. You can go to sleep there, you can get drunk there, but you never can get off that path. Once you have the awakening experience, you can never forget that moment. I'll never forget the moment when, boom, the light went on. And so now I'm constantly having to do the work. Constantly doing the work.
So it's not just all of a sudden, boom, you're enlightened now, everything's peachy keen.
No. I mean,
it takes work.
But it takes work. But, you know, the beauty of it is you have this eternal friend that's right next to you. Your twin that's right next to you, guiding you, holding you, teaching you, loving you. I mean, holding you. I mean, this is good.
Yeah, and everybody has access to something like that. Whether you want to call it your conscience, or who's sitting on your shoulder, or whatever, they're there.
Well, you know, got one whisper saying, "Hey man, go over here and rob that bank." Hey man, you better go to work this morning. That's what you better do.
That's true. That's true. Now you've written a book. Tell us about your book.
It's called The Last Hustle. But really, there is no last hustle. I mean, we won't get that. But it's The Last Hustle. It's a catchy title.
Oh, it is. Yeah. It is. I like it.
It's called Last Hustle, and it's a memoir about my years of in Arkansas, moving to Kansas City, Missouri, going to prison, hustling, and meeting my teacher, Ganga G, in prison, and then coming out and adjusting to life and and then the amazing thing is starting a nonprofit organization and going back into prison and helping those incarcerated. I don't do it as much now because I'm slowly transitioning. I did about 4 years of prison work, and I realized that once the book is published or I get rich soon, you know, I can be able to support other organizations that are doing the work. So I want our foundation to really be a foundation, whereas we can say, oh, this organization over here in San Quentin, they're doing good work, let's write them a check. This organization in Newark, New Jersey, they're doing good work, let's write them a check. So, because I realize a lot of groups that's already out there doing it, now how can they be supported? So that's my vision now. That's my purpose now, my mission now.
Excellent. And if you could speak to someone that maybe is incarcerated right now, to lead them into a path of something that's going to free them up and let them escape from the pattern that they've been, you know, doing over and over again, what might that be?
Know that your efforts to be free are not wasted. That's the best thing I can say. To know that your efforts to be free aren't wasted.